shoulder to shoulder on those front lines. Brothers! Today we fight for all our brothers back home.
Commence primary ignition.
What is up, all of you Ugnaughts and Jawas out there, and welcome back to yet again another episode of Mando Talk, and we have quite a special episode to deliver. All of our lovely listeners out there, those of you that are with us live, we appreciate you being here, and first things first, let me welcome in DJ Foster at Rebel Scum Texan. He is back. How are you doing, sir?
Glad to be here. I have thoroughly been looking forward to tonight ever since I pitched the idea a few weeks back, and it just means the world to me that we were getting to do this with our brothers tonight.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I am so stoked about what we've got in store for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, buddy, me too.
Well, let's go ahead and introduce our lovely brothers here that we've got tonight. And first, let's just start over here. We got a returning voice, Jacob Keller. You've heard him before. If you're a listener of Mando Talk, let's welcome Jacob back. What's up, Jacob? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. Good to be here. I'm so stoked for this podcast and to talk about these episodes of Star Wars Visions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be pretty special. All right, DJ, why don't you introduce your brother in the Force that's with you tonight?
This is my younger brother. I have two younger brothers, and the other one is at home, but this is my middle younger brother, Gavin Foster. Gavin, tell the people hello.
Hi, y'all. I'm extremely happy to be here. It's different me being on a podcast, let alone on YouTube, but I'm excited.
Sure. Well, I'm excited to have you because like we teased up Tuesday during our Geekverse Reactions episode, Gavin and Jacob bring the anime knowledge that myself and DJ lack. So
as
we've
we've discovered this before we hit record tonight. We've already heard some conversations, and just to I'm cutting you off. I know I am, but I just have to say this really quick. We've already gotten confused about stuff. Me and Caleb. Me and Caleb have no idea what's going on already about a couple things. So it's going to be, I think, a blast and a half as we continue.
Absolutely. Well, listen.
Yeah, you got some anime fans in here tonight. And
yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Jujutsu Kaisen,
so.
Demon Slayer, Naruto.
I don't know what that means. I just know what Star Wars is. That's what I'm here for.
Well, you should look into it, man. You should look into it.
Well,
bro.
I tell you what, Star Wars Visions is making me want to look into it, and we'll dive deeper into Star Wars Visions a little bit later. But I do think that it's important that Visions is doing that for a lot of Star Wars fans out there. Maybe people that haven't seen anime stuff before. This is their introduction to that, and I think Visions is doing a great job of getting people interested in that genre. But like I said, we've got some things that we want to hit first before we get to Star Wars Visions. So if everybody's good, if we're all good, if everyone's ready in their positions in our Millennium Falcon of a ship tonight.
We're going to try to calm down.
Are you Chewbacca or am I Chewbacca?
Why?
Who's the pilot? Who's the co-pilot?
Oh, I'll be a co-pilot.
Okay, so he's riding over here. He's Chewbacca. I'll be Han Solo.
Fair enough. All right, let's do this thing. So what we're going to do at the beginning of the episode this week is update you just real quickly and give our quick opinions on the past week in Star Wars news, because that's what we've been doing recently. But again, we want to give most of our time to Visions on this week's episode. So real quick, first thing off the top as far as our news pieces go, we've got a special on Boba Fett's history and legacy will be arriving on Disney Plus on none other than Disney Plus Day, which is November 12th. Now, I also want to point out, because they've been advertising that as being the day that Disney Plus premiered. Let's not forget that that's 2 years ago that The Mandalorian premiered. So
it's
really,
Mandalorian
really
Day as far as
there.
I'm concerned.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Mandalorian Day as far as I'm concerned, and
It's worth it. Put it on the calendar.
absolutely. We need to get some Disney centric or some Star Wars. We need to make a Star Wars calendar. I'm going to patent it right now so no one steals
Hey.
it. Let's get a Star Wars calendar, but all the most important Star Wars dates ever on the whole, across the whole year. I mean, and then Disney Plus Day will just become Mandalorian's birthday.
Yeah.
That's what it needs to be.
Hey, I like it. So here's the question that I have for us to consider. Should we expect to see the Book of Boba Fett content dropped during this special or just in this day in general? What do you think, DJ?
I would be shocked if we didn't get at least a trailer. I mean, if we don't get a trailer for Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus Day, and I think I said this last week or maybe in a week before that, I don't know. I just think that we've got to get something, before. I mean, we got to get something before this thing premieres. I mean, and I'd be shocked if we didn't. It makes all the sense in the world now with this new announcement about this stuff coming out about the legacy of Boba Fett. It just makes perfect sense that we would get a trailer on Disney Plus Day. As far as I'm concerned, that's the day it's coming.
At least a teaser.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be at least a small teaser at the very least. If it's Boba Fett and maybe some of that rumored new armor we've heard about, but I mean, at the very least, we'll see the helmet. We got to.
Yeah, I think so too. Jacob, what do you think?
I know what I would love to see.
What's that?
I would love to see a trailer for Boba Fett.
Yeah, sure. I will say, I mean, I'm going to be pretty excited just to get this special as far as diving deeper into the character. But, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they've got the show coming out the following month. Why would they not use that as an opportunity to promote said show? So I kind of expect to see something, although I don't know. I know this is going down a rabbit hole, and maybe we'll leave it at this, but do we think that we won't see a trailer all the way until November 12th?
I honestly, at this point, I would say, yeah. I mean, I was at a point where I was like, oh, we're not getting the Spider-Man trailer ever. And then I thought, oh, we'll get Book of Boba Fett way before Spider-Man. And now that was me being like insanely optimistic. I'm going with the pessimistic route on that because I just don't see us getting one, before it's November 12th, right?
Yes, November 12th.
Making sure I got okay. I keep thinking it's November 11th for some reason. I don't.
Yeah.
There's no significant date in my brain about that, but November 12th, everybody. November 12th.
Right.
Those listening and watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. That's all we really wanted to talk about with that Book of Boba Fett and Boba Fett getting a special again because we got so many things to get to tonight. But I do real quick want to give a shout out. We got Sydney in the live chat. We got RFB Rural Farm Boy in the live chat. Blue Harvest Bricks. The whole fam is with us. The whole crew is here tonight.
Look, Blue Harvest Bricks. He's a member of our Discord. Quick plug for Discord.
Yeah,
if you're not on the Mando Talk Discord, come over there and join us. My brother Gavin here is on there as TK421.
Always.
And Jacob, you're in the Discord, right? Surely.
Me?
Man, he's so lacking as far as technology goes.
Bummer.
Roast him in the chat, guys.
But Blue Harvest Bricks joining us all the way from the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
heck yeah.
I'm so glad he's back. He missed a couple of episodes recently, but he came into Discord all humble, real nice, and said, "Hey guys, I'm sorry I missed the last few times, dude. We're just happy you're back."
Yeah.
All right. So to everybody brand
buddy.
new, never been here before, you're returning. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah. And since you said that, okay, another plug. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Help us out. Okay.
Yeah, we're very close to our goal. Very close to our goal.
Very close. Okay, next news piece real quickly. We've got officially, I guess, although I think we've kind of speculated this up to this point, the Hollywood Reporter revealed that Chris Coxell is the new head of publicity and communications at Lucasfilm. When they released this article, I believe in there they kind of mapped out that all three, Kenobi, Andor, and Mando 3 are coming out in 2022. Although I believe here at Mando Talk, we've kind of speculated that was going to be the case. Although I can't remember, for some reason I'm struggling to remember if Lucasfilm has confirmed this, but with Hollywood Reporter coming out and saying this, it's pretty much set in stone that we're going to get all three of those shows, which, like Gavin was just saying, is pretty crazy that we're going to be getting those.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see why we can't take that as fact. I mean, that's Bible at this point. And in no way that I think that the Hollywood Reporter is owned by Disney.
Oh,
I have
really?
no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
That's my speculation
Disney
because
owns all, man.
they own
Yes,
everything,
they do.
except Spider-Man. But we'll talk about that another time. But with that being said, they have dropped exclusive Disney information before, so it lends me to believe they are owned. Their parent company is Disney, and like you said, it's set in stone. Just get out the hammer and chisel and go to town at this point, because there's no way that this is going to change unless something absolutely insane happens that changes this. But I don't see that happening whatsoever.
Sure.
Gavin, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
It's so weird to fathom the fact that the Star Wars is, let alone having 3 different things in the same year coming out, because I mean it's not in my brain, because I mean since Clone Wars came out whenever we were kids, well, you were a teenager, but it's just that was constant and it kept coming out, and so it was just cool to have all that at the same time, and we haven't had anything like that for the past 6 years?
Yeah, I mean, even since Disney's had the rights to Star Wars, it's not been one of those things where we've gotten this much content in 1 year. Like we had Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker. That was a lot, but it wasn't the same as this. I mean, and we got to remember, these are powerhouse things. I mean, Rogue One was an incredible film. It did amazing at the box office. It's Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And of course it's dadgum Din Djarin out here with the Mandalorian. So, I mean, there's no way it's
Pedro
gonna
Pascal.
Yeah, there's no way it's gonna be a bummer of a year.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fantastic.
Jacob, what are your thoughts on the year of 2022 in Star Wars?
It sounds like it'll be a really good year for Star Wars, and I can't wait to see just the creativity speaking through these shows and the stories unfold. And man, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Check your tire pressure, because it's gonna be a good year.
But
Why am I not leaving? I'm done.
I'm working on my dad. I'm working on my dad jokes. I gotta gear up.
Hey,
Wrong
I
person.
think you're
Testing.
there. I think you're there with him, man. You're prepped,
That's
primed,
it.
and ready.
That's it. That came off the top of the dome. I was like, I have to say this.
All right, you're ready. No more.
I'm ready. Yeah, you're right. That's my dad joke for the night.
All right. Any other thoughts on the year of 2022 from the boys? From the boys.
I'll be a senior in high school, so I mean, it's just
Hey,
that's it.
He's just
talk about a
he's
great
capping off
senior
his
year.
capping off his senior year with some of the best Star Wars content that we'll probably have ever gotten.
Probably.
That might be a hot take. It's going to be some of the best Star Wars content we'll have ever received.
That is
And
a hot take.
I'm lumping in Empire Strikes Back with that, boys.
Honestly, without Ahsoka,
Yeah.
it's not good enough.
Oh,
It's not good enough.
yeah. He's got on his Ahsoka Tano t-shirt tonight. We are more pumped for Ahsoka, I think, than the other 3, if we're going to be real honest.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to Ahsoka.
Andor seems to be pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I love the shootout kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
fun. A lot of ton of fun.
Ton of fun. Okay, here's this next news piece, or I guess rumor, if you will, could be potentially be a ton of fun if said rumor is true, and that is that another new Star Wars game is rumored to be in production from Quantic Dreams, which this company has developed Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human. Me, myself, being the non-gamer, never heard of either 3 of those games. Anybody here on this panel tonight have any experience with this company?
Okay,
Not at
I
all.
think I've seen Detroit Become Human,
Okay.
and that's a
yeah.
really interesting game.
It's a
where-
very interesting game.
Yeah, you're playing as AI robots that want to have their rights as humans. And
Did
it
we
just-
both do the same thing?
Me and DJ both were taking a
Well,
sip,
look.
and we paused, and we were like, wait a second. Continue,
AR
Jacob.
go on, go
Enlighten
on.
us.
glitch in the Matrix, huh?
You had me at AI robots.
No, yeah. And that's what makes it such an interesting game is you follow several different stories where you're following different robots that realize personhood, basically, and
Okay.
struggle to have that recognized by people.
So what I'm hearing is that we're getting an L337 game is what we're getting. We're getting this full-on game where it's just L3 from Solo the whole time trying to live her life as a sentient. That's what I'm hearing is
Oh
what
my
this is going to
gosh.
be.
That is interesting.
That's pure. That would be the most boring game of all time.
I don't know.
Well, in terms of
pretty
like
fun.
what kind of game it is the kind where the decisions that you make affect the outcome of the game.
Sure.
Yeah. So that'll be really cool as a Star Wars game.
Okay, fair.
I
Gavin,
like
do
the
you have
idea-
any thoughts on the game or the company? I guess before I read like a direct quote.
Well, I can tell you now that the company has done some good games, Detroit being one of them. It made some really good numbers for money, especially on release. But specifically, it's a good kind of like theatrical game. It has a lot of RPG vibes. I
Yeah,
haven't played it, but I've
exactly.
watched playthroughs. So if they're doing a Star Wars, let alone an open world Star Wars game like I've heard, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, listen, let me
Fair
just
enough.
to finalize this. I'm gonna read like a report or a quote from a trusted source in the gaming industry, and I'll probably butcher how you say this. Kotaku, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not a gamer. I know Zach out there might know how to say that. Zach Horvath. Shout out to him, man. We love you, bruh. You know, we know that you're always gonna be part of Mando Talk. But anyway, according to this source, Quantic Dream has indeed been working on a Star Wars game for approximately a year and a half, but it won't be the conventional type of quick-time event-driven game we've come to expect from the French studio. Instead, they said the game will have more traditional action gameplay and possibly even, like Gavin just alluded to, open world and multiplayer elements. So really cool. Obviously, anytime that open world title or descriptor is thrown out there with Star Wars,
Yeah.
I'm interested, and I would love to see it.
Yeah, and I'm not a gamer, but I love the Assassin's Creed franchise. And so having played
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed and also Spider-Man, the PS4 first Spider-Man game that came out just a few years ago.
That is open world. So.
They're both extremely fun and very open world type games, and I love them to death. So the idea of I've always been open to the idea of an open world game coming to the Star Wars universe. If this is the studio that finally puts those rumors to rest, that's great news for me, because I know I'll pick that up.
Yeah.
Anything with Star Wars on it, I've said it before. I've said it so many times. I'll
Yeah.
get a game if it says Star Wars, but if it doesn't say Star Wars, I probably won't get it unless I'm convinced to get it.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, one final news piece before we get to Star Wars Visions. And this is something that me and DJ were actually talking about last week. And it's
Yeah.
crazy how sometimes things come out right at the correct moments. And it
Absolutely.
is that the Mandalorian composer Ludwig Goransson is reportedly returning to compose the Book of Boba Fett. The source on this is Film Music Reporter. For me, I think we even talked about this on Geekverse Reactions about how the Lord of the Rings series is it's really good that they're getting Howard Shore back. In my opinion, now that we're doing this whole Mandoverse thing, I think it's important to get Ludwig involved with all of these Mandoverse series to, again, make them feel even more so connected. And that's really, as Forrest Gump would say, that's really all I have to say about that. Jacob, what you got?
Yeah, I like that. The theme and the feel of your music definitely would unite like the stories together, and I think you put it really well.
I think that's a common thread we've seen with John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, John Williams, and I once put this question out there in some Facebook group years ago of, do you think that modern film composers, and I guess I can ask all of us, do you think modern film composers are kind of like the Beethovens or the Mozarts of today? Because I think they are. And I think it'd be very hard to say, look at John Williams and look at 9 films, Star Wars, all 1 through 9, and how you can see 9 symphonies is kind of how I look at it. Now, I'm not like a music guy. Gavin over here, quick plug for Gavin. Gavin's in a high school marching band snare drummer. And he's incredible.
Right on.
And I'm not just saying that because he's on the show. He actually really is an amazing snare drummer. But when you think about people like Gavin, you know, you're going to have a really good perspective on something like this. So what do you think about like Ludwig coming in?
So trying to add on to what you said about John Williams and how they could be like the modern day, Ludwig von Beethoven. If they were like him, it would have to be more of the more popular ones, because I feel like back in the day, whenever they like way back when they had those composers, I'm blanking on names, but like Beethoven.
We blank on names all the
Mozart,
time.
Mozart.
Yeah.
several different more Stravinsky, just so many. They made music that alluded to plays, and they had things that would allude to what their life was like Beethoven. Constantly loud music. He was deaf.
That's true.
And so that's why I'm expecting like people like John Williams or Hans Zimmer. They're like the big ones. Like Hans Zimmer did all the Batman movies, and then you have John Williams doing basically everything for Star Wars. He did Harry Potter. He did Home Alone too, didn't he?
He did do Home Alone.
He did Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's fantastic to see all these like new composers
and like
on here.
And just to build off of that again, it's like seeing Ludwig being brought in to do Book of Boba Fett. I feel like it just needs to he needs to be the live action TV guy, because like we got Kevin Kiner has done the Clone Wars and Rebels and Bad Batch. That's he's the animation guy.
He's on lock.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. You know, I can't, if I hear the clone theme or the Ahsoka theme play, I'm like, that's Kevin Kiner, baby. And so Ahsoka theme all day. And and then of course, you know, with Ludwig doing these other shows, it makes sense to keep that, I guess, in the family, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, that is all of the news. Again, we want to spend our focus on Visions this week, but we wanted to keep our listeners, you know, up to date as far as Star Wars news goes. But it is time for us to discuss Star Wars Visions. Now, real quickly, we are going to get into spoilers for Star Wars Visions episodes 1 through 5. So if you have not seen those episodes, you may want to come back. However, I will, or one of us will, give a warning before we go to the next episode. So maybe, for example, you've seen episodes 1 and 2. Well, stick around with us. We'll talk about episodes 1 and 2, and then come back after you've then continued watching 3, 4, and 5. But we'll give, you know, a warning before we go into each episode. But with that said, I guess before we get into each episode, I do want to kind of go back to this idea of like maybe just non-spoiler discussion about it first. And just back to what we were talking about at the top of this episode, I think it's really cool to see not only just Star Wars getting new content, but Star Wars getting new content that we've never seen before as far as this anime genre goes. And
anime
it's beautiful. Yeah, there you go. It's beautiful. It looks great, and I can't wait to finish my watch. But what are you, everybody here, everybody that's with us, what are your non-spoiler, just overall impressions of what you've seen so far? Let's start with Gavin.
So it's really awesome to see that they have a whole bunch of different studios doing the animation. And I already talked to DJ about this, but I specifically definitely wanted to talk about it on here. There's a show on Netflix called Love, Death, and Robots. They had different people different studios do the same different animation for different episodes. And so I feel like Vision's doing this is bringing in a whole different genre of a way to show how the Star Wars universe can look so different but still be completely the same, because that's just what Star Wars is. It's just Star Wars. I mean, but the fact that it's anime makes it all the much better, especially for me.
Yeah.
Sure. Jacob, what do you got? What are your overall impressions so far?
I want DJ to go first.
Oh, okay. DJ, what you got?
Okay, that's fine. Well, you know, for me, I've said this before, I'm not an anime guy, and I don't knock it. You know, I appreciate the art and
should be.
And the I'll work on it. We'll see.
You should be.
but watching these first 5 episodes, which are the only ones I've seen so far.
Same.
The fact that we have these different animation styles, but they're all connected under this word anime. You know, if somebody had told me a million years ago that anime wasn't just this one style, I think I might have been more interested in it. Because especially, and I'm not going into spoilers, but that first episode specifically, I was hooked.
Yeah.
And if I could see more like that, I think I could make the switch over to being an anime fan if I could find more stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, so for me, that's kind of and just as a whole for these first 5 episodes, they're all great. You know, there's some that I have that I think are better than others, and I think we'll all have that way. But, you know, for the most part, I couldn't be more excited about this and be more happy with the results that I've seen so far. So now I'm going to kick it back over to Jakob over there.
Jakob.
Jakob.
Sounds like we're hawking up some loogies. Jakob.
The Hebrew.
I believe that is
the
appropriate Hebrew pronunciation.
It is.
Yeah.
It
Jakob.
is.
Yeah.
First thing I'm gonna touch on is, as Caleb knows, I always love the story of something, and to me, that's like the foundation of whatever the work of art is. And I love the stories in all of these so far. Love them. Second thing that I'm going to touch on is what y'all already have, is how each episode is in itself a work of art that could stand on its own and is unique from the other, you know? And that's what's special about this series is, you know, the way that it's in anime is that each episode can be its own form of art. And I love that so much about seeing Star Wars like this.
Yeah, no, I love the possibilities that just the concept of this has created. And tell you what, I love the decision to go the non-canon route. I think that allowed them to explore the anime genre even
so
more,
much more
than it would have had it been canon. So I'm really glad that they made that decision. Any other final non-spoilers before we get into?
I want to quickly apologize. I was making sure family and friends knew that we were doing this right now.
That's
because
awesome.
I get to talk. I'm sure you guys talk Star Wars on a fairly regular basis. We talk Star Wars on a fairly regular basis. And the fact that we're doing something like this to me is very special. I want to make sure people on my socials know about that.
Hey.
And I didn't do that beforehand. That's my fault. So I took care of it now.
No, hey, fair enough.
Fair enough. No, yeah, I'm ready to get into the spoilers.
Okay.
I'm super ready. Let's just do it.
Okay.
Let's go.
So listen, we're going to get into episode 1 spoilers. And what we've done basically is I have a list of takeaways, but let me just go ahead and tell you the facts. My takeaways are not going to be as deep into the anime stuff as Jacob and Gavin are probably going to be able to provide. And I'm hoping that maybe me and DJ are thinking some similar things, but I'm hoping that all of us, because like we've alluded to, there's so much to all of these individual stories. Hopefully all of us took more and different things and this and found comfort and happiness and joy while we were watching these episodes. So I wanted to get that down and out of the way. I'll be sharing my quick takeaways, but just know that that's going to open this thing into so many cool and fun, interesting conversations. So episode 1 of Star Wars Visions, The Duel. Now, what I'm going to do is read each production or the producers or the company that worked on this, and I'll probably butcher some names, and Jacob might correct me a couple of times, which is totally fine.
I will.
For
The Duel, Kamikaze Doga?
Doga.
Yeah. It's either Doga or Douga.
Produced
I'm pretty
The
sure you got it
Duel.
right.
And with The Duel, I think across the board, from what I've seen on socials, is blowing people's mind. The animation style, and for me, my first takeaway here was the grayscale type of visuals, but the crystals, the lights on the lights on the droid, the sabers, that's the color that we saw, and that was the only color that we saw, and I loved that animation. That was my first takeaway. Any thoughts on that?
I'm going to go ahead and say that this was the one I was the most excited to see. The moment they announced Star Wars anime, I knew the world was going to go nuts over it. Back at that Disney Investors Day when they first announced, I think that was like in November or December of last year. When they said that they were doing this, I was like, this is going to be incredible. And it's already proven so just with this first episode.
Oh yeah.
And me, I've said this on the show. I am a huge film fan. I love filmmaking. You know, I wanted to be a filmmaker for several years, and I've studied film, and only recently have I discovered Akira Kurosawa, the famous Japanese filmmaker who George Lucas, our boy George Lucas, had a good friendship with. And he took a lot from Kurosawa's style and brought it into Star Wars. So seeing that Kurosawa style in this first episode of The Duel, what meant so much to me, not just as like a fan of film, but as a Star Wars fan. And there was a certain kind of beauty to it in the storytelling and in the animation. And like you said, I was going to mention it if no one else did. The lights, everything was black and white except for lightsabers. And I thought this makes the story just push in the right kind of emotion and the right kind of place.
Yep.
So for me, that is my main biggest takeaway from this first episode. I'm going to kick it over to Gavin. What do you think?
So I had a friend today talk to me about this first episode because he told me he watched every episode last night, and I was like, that's awesome. But he talked to me and I was like, isn't this the same animation studio that did JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? And it is. So
No
JoJo's
way.
Bizarre Adventure. Yeah. So they've had like some of the craziest fan base for an anime.
Yeah.
But it's some of the best, like the first 2 seasons. Okay. Animation. The 4th season. Now that's some good animation.
Yeah.
But it's all in color. Like everything is the most colorful you can think about. So it's completely
it's such a
different.
different style than this episode.
Yeah, it's completely different from what Kamikaze Dogo would actually do.
Interesting.
So it's
I
just
didn't know that.
it's insane. I thought it was awesome.
Okay.
That's really interesting to know because that just shows you the versatility of the animation artist in that studio. Because like you said, JoJo is very colorful and very... I've heard some people even think it's kind of flamboyantly colorful. And just that difference in animation style is really incredible. And yeah, one big thing that I took away from this first episode, watching this and getting a feel for what the rest of the series would be like, is like, I saw it and I'm like, okay, all of this is going to be art.
Yeah, it's been...
All of this is going to be a visual, just visually...
It's like somebody
satisfying.
gave me like some sort of glasses. It's like somebody gave me some sort of glasses and they say, here, wear these for a little while.
Yeah.
And
sure.
you go into this other world. It's you're right. You're absolutely right, Jacob. It's the
Okay,
coolest thing.
so I'm going to tell y'all something. This is what's beautiful about anime.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Well, okay, let's get to my next takeaway, and it's simply this. The Sith Bandit leader. Let's talk about how cool of a villain that Sith Bandit leader is with that
Umbrella
lightsaber helicopter like whirl, and then she comes down and with the most intimidating face on. Oh man, I got chills honestly at that moment. That was so cool. I loved this character. What were everyone's general thoughts on the Sith Bandit leader?
Hardcore reminders of Asajj Ventress.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because we didn't talk about this beforehand. I mean, the second she showed up, I was like, that's Asajj Ventress. Of course, it's not. But the umbrella saber even, and just the fact that one thing about, well, I'll say that for a minute, but it's just the coolest thing. I see you wanted to say something.
For me, it always reminds me of the old Clone Wars, the 2D animated. It reminds me of that Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
Which we've done an episode about, and you should go back and rewatch or listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Fair.
Do it.
Go ahead. I was just a real
that's
quick
all I
plug.
wanted to say.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Just plugging
Jacob,
that.
what
one
are
real
your
quick.
thoughts on Sith Bandit leader?
I was just trying to remember. Is there like color in her eyes?
I don't think so.
I thought
I
there
think
might
there
be
is.
like a
I
little
can
bit
check.
of yellow.
there may have been. The Sith eyes.
Ooh,
would
if
be
there
in
are Sith,
color.
if Sith eyes showed up and we missed it, are we even Star Wars fans?
I don't know, man. We might need to just end this episode
Just
and
end
call
it.
it quits.
Done.
Try to get next week.
I guess so. No, if it is, I think you may be onto something there. If it's not Sith eyes, it may be a reflection of the lightsaber or something in her eyes. And Gavin's over here showing me pictures. No, it's just reflections of the lightsaber
Okay, cool.
in the eyes. So we didn't lose our
Well, that's
Star Wars
cool
fan
too,
card.
though.
We're good.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
All right.
But yeah, intimidating character
Yeah.
and
Cool
Um,
lightsaber. Let's
What
buy
was
it.
really cool-
$2,000.
that's got to be an interesting
It's-
backstory too.
Oh, that's
'cause
worth
how
the
does
money.
It's
That's worth
already
the money.
like it's already ignited in a sheath, and it
Yeah,
comes out
yeah.
of the holster, and it's
I
like
love
ready to
that.
go. I'm like, okay, it's something different.
But that also makes you think, that probably means like the sheath for the lightsaber has to be made of Beskar.
Oh,
So because if you stuck it in there, it's not going to hold that lightsaber. It has to be made of Beskar.
I have no words.
Mind blown.
I have no words.
Didn't even think about
in
that.
the episode.
That never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, and in the episode, they also say that that dude that's with Master Ronan, whenever he gets there, he says that this is the ragtag band of like the leftover clones from the war. That makes me think it's after episode 6, right?
I think it's alluding to it's after episode 6.
Yeah.
And so it just makes it all the much cooler because it's just
even though there's first
Heck
order
yeah.
stormtrooper helmets happening.
yeah.
Like they
I
just
noticed
said
too.
that one's cool, that one's cool, that one's cool. We'll stick it on this guy, and
It's
and we'll
legend,
go.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's legend. So it doesn't matter.
Well, maybe it's just like trying to show like the falling apart thing that would
Yes.
be going on after the collapse of an empire and the moving in of a new sort of system, right?
Yeah.
Man, and another thing I love is the way that people and the armor looks Japanese in this episode.
Yeah.
But at the same
That's
time,
why
like through a Star Wars kind of way, you know?
Yeah. That's why I was so excited about it, because it looked so realistic.
Yeah.
It looked culturally correct in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The kimono on Master Ronan was awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic animation with the wind and how it moved.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
awesome. I just love that, man. It's so cool.
What was y'all's reaction when he pulled out his lightsaber and it was red?
I felt like I got misled
Your lightsaber blade is red.
because because the whole time I've had the poster in front of me for different stuff, and he's holding a red lightsaber on the poster. Yet when it dropped and he pulled it out and it was red, I thought, what in the no? Like this is.
I knew it was coming, but I didn't think about it while I was watching the episode.
Same. That's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
how
It
I
was
was.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that actually takes me to my next takeaway is I'm very interested in this Ronin character. Like, give me more. I would love, and I think they're releasing like a book or a novel, or they may have already.
There is a manga already out about that.
Okay.
But not that story, but like all of these. So
I know that.
Yeah.
Okay. And but then another thing that really stood out. Sorry, I got so excited to talk about this, I just stumbled over all my words.
Awesome.
Whenever he pulled his cloak back and you see all these red kyber crystals, for me, my interpretation, that all the Siths that he's killed.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely.
There's no way.
That is so cool.
Definitely.
It doesn't even like. It's the coolest thing I've ever thought of.
Yeah.
A Sith hunter. Like, we've had Jedi hunters. We've never had Sith hunters, to my knowledge.
A Sith that hunts down Sith.
In my brain, it's like whenever Count Dooku went to the dark side. I feel like if he would have came back, I feel like that's what he would have done. Is just taken out Sith, because he's like a Sith. Master Ronan's like a Sith mercenary. I feel like he was exiled from the Sith Order and then came back to try and like take over like the rest of the Sith, so that way he could stop them from what they're doing.
Well, my mind's blown. I wouldn't have thought of that.
No, I wouldn't have thought of that either.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, any other thoughts about the first episode, The Last Duel? Or sorry, not The Last Duel. Why did I say The Last? The Duel.
Duel.
Just the duel. Just the duel.
Just the
It was somebody's last duel.
That's true. Facts.
No, I'm good on this one. Let's get going.
I
I could talk about this
say-
episode for hours.
Yeah,
I want
I
to
could
say
too.
that the word Ronin, that isn't his name. He remains, his true name remains hidden. But the word Ronin means, back in feudal medieval Japan, it was a lone samurai that did not have a lord or master. So that's very relevant to a Sith that, doesn't have a master.
Interesting.
And that's a conversation that we were having actually off air, and I didn't realize that. I just assumed that, because everyone referenced him as Ronin, but I didn't realize that he never revealed what his name is. That's just what everybody calls him, and which that would make absolute perfect sense. But regardless, I would love to see more of this character, and I really do think that we probably will, especially after the reaction that people have been giving to this character. I think we're definitely going to see him again. But that is our thoughts on the duel. You let us know, those of you out there that are maybe watching live, tell us in the live chat, or if you're watching on the playback, tell us in the comments, or if you're listening on podcast, hop on over to Discord and tell us on that platform. Okay, next, episode 2. So now we are getting into episode 2 spoilers, and episode 2 is Tatooine Rhapsody, and the studio that brought that one is Studio Colorido. I keep wanting to say Colorado, but
I was about to say Colorado.
Colorido. Okay, general thoughts for me about this episode. Tatooine, it was cool to be back there. Mm-hmm. I will say, for me, maybe this is my lack of anime and being in that genre. Maybe just the singing and all of that different stuff. Maybe it wasn't flashy enough for me but I still loved it. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. I loved that It delivered a different style. It gave me something different. But I know we were talking earlier about, like, which ones were our favorites and stuff like that. I would classify this one definitely not my favorite, but it was enjoyable. Those are kind of just my overall thoughts on it as far as before we dive deeper into spoilers. Any overall thoughts y'all want to share on Tatooine Rhapsody?
You know, I don't have a whole lot personally. I'll go really quick because I want to hear what y'all have to say more than what I have to say. I don't have a ton to take away from this except that my inner punk rock kid was like super happy.
Yeah.
Like I love punk rock music. So to hear that kind of here was great. I also love that we had Jabba the Hutt in there, but we also had his vocal tracks were from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And I loved that we had that. And then Boba Fett kind of doing one of these little kind of like head nod
grooving
things. Yeah, he was grooving.
What?
I thought
I didn't see that.
And Jabba tapping his tail. Yeah. So like little things like that really made the episode for me.
Yeah.
But that's all I want to say about it. I want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Gavin, what do you have to say about it?
So I can tell you for sure that it wasn't as flashy, but I think the reason is because I feel like they're trying to reach the kid audience for Star Wars movies as well. This was very much a kid-oriented episode. The very beginning, this is like Clone Wars, and so I am so sorry. I will say all of that again. So for me, it's more like a kid-oriented episode. So what they did was, I feel like they're trying to reach the kid audience for Star Wars Visions more, and so what Disney's doing is pushing that so that way they can get to more like I said, the kid audience, but they're also pushing it towards like the musical side, which is what I wanted. And I wanted that so bad. Like whenever I thought they were gonna a full intro for Star Wars Visions, and they don't, but that's okay. There's still good music throughout the episodes.
Fair.
That's good. And what was cool about that second episode was at the very beginning they showed the battle droids and clones on the ground, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna get intense, and then it didn't. And so it was good to say the least, but there wasn't like pew pew bang bang as much as we would hope probably.
Jacob, what are your thoughts?
I like it. I like how it was lighthearted. You know, it's not okay. Yes. What I thought was cool about it is we go from the duel, where it's a very like the animation itself is very dark, very real, gritty. And then we go to this one, and the animation itself is very almost like cute, Yeah. And that's and I like how they did that from episode 1 to episode 2. I like how they did that because that shows you right from the get-go what's possible with anime. Like the range that you can get with your animation styles. So I like that about it, and I like how it's lighthearted and the music, like I jammed out to it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free yourself, hey.
Is that what they were saying?
Yeah, and actually that reminds me of like how most of the people on the planet are slaves.
Oh.
Yeah. So for them to sing that, I was like, hey.
It's an anthem. It's an anthem.
Yeah.
Dude,
I like that.
I didn't even think of that. I need to go back and watch these because I really do think there's a lot of details in each of these episodes that I probably overlooked on just one viewing.
I'm gonna
But
have to go back and rewatch it with subtitles because I didn't do that.
that's
Yeah.
I think I did.
I watch
think I
everything with
did on the
subtitles
first
now,
watch.
So
Okay.
I think it just accidentally kind of happened this time because usually on the first watch I don't use subtitles, but they were already on and I just pressed play and I just rolled with it. So they stayed.
Okay.
Good. They stayed. But
Fair enough.
quick takeaways: Tamara Morrison as Boba Fett. I mean, obviously, anytime you hear his voice,
All day.
bravo! I love to hear that. I loved it. This was in Visions, at least our first. I got a bad feeling about this line. I loved getting that in Visions. We saw Kenobi's homestead spotted for a brief second.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool because it wasn't really needed, but it was something that this studio that made this episode knew that geeks like us would freak out when they showed that. And I freaked out whenever I saw that.
Yeah, and in the story, that makes you wonder if he's got the radio on and the song is reaching him.
Yeah, dude, that exact thought went through my mind. I'm like, is Kenobi watching this right now?
That's awesome.
Kenobi's kicked back with some blue milk and
Blue milk. He's just over there. Yeah, okay.
Moss Eisley Plus is on the television. And
Moss Eisley Plus.
this kid's a Force user.
Oh, wait a minute. The kid's floating.
Man, I don't
No,
know. That was my
43
own
feet here.
headcanon there, just going crazy. What you got?
I love
Jacob?
it.
What is it called? The Dune Sea? Yeah,
Yeah.
Dune Sea
Yes.
Hard Rock radio station.
There you go. I don't know, man.
106.9.
Those are just the thoughts that went through my head as I was thinking about seeing
Love
Kenobi's
that.
homestead spotted.
Love that.
You already mentioned Jabba's tail moving. I put that down. I
Yes.
thought that was absolutely hilarious. And my final quick takeaway that I put was that this is the episode that you play for a kid. And I think someone here had already kind of mentioned that this was very, pointed toward that audience. And I love that though. Like Jacob said, the first one was very dark. I guess if you could say of any of the episodes, if you're going to throw this descriptor on it, I would say the first episode of all of them would be the most adult-like, and then we kind of flopped into this type of genre as far as, the fun, the colorful, the kid-like one, and your Gavin and Jacob, your analysis on that was spot on. Any other thoughts that any of you fine gentlemen would like to say about Tatooine Rhapsody?
But I like how Boba Fett remained in this episode still, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Still Boba. He's
Like,
still Boba.
You're coming with me or you die.
They kept the animation of all those characters small with bigger heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was different. I don't think I've ever seen an anime like that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Okay, episode 3. We're getting into episode 3 spoilers now, and it is the twins. Now, the twins was brought to us. Is it Trigger?
Trigger.
Trigger?
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 Is it Trigger?
Oh, I read that completely wrong. It is Trigger, I believe. Trigger is the studio that brought us the twins. Obviously, for me, quick takeaway, this is so inspired by Luke and Leia. It is so evident,
yes.
and it was great to see. And I'll just pause there and open it up to everybody else because I want to hear what everybody else has to say.
Go ahead.
I'll wait for you.
Okay. It's very obvious that this was inspired by Luke and Leia. And, I like that, I'm not a sequel trilogy hater. I think that there are elements of it that aren't great, but that's with all of these movies, honestly. But with that being said, I like that with this little, how these two twins came to be, we get some Sith science, secrets only the Sith knew via Rise of Skywalker. And when that builds into them coming to a place of this is what we were born for and all this kind of, that's a driving factor. And I correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob or Gavin, but that's kind of a driving factor sometimes within anime is this is what I was meant to do or born for. So seeing that come about that way was really, really cool. On top of that, it's a story of siblings. We're here with our siblings tonight, so it's even cooler that we get to talk about that. But at the same time, it was this nice push towards this is where we're going. We've got, there's going to be some friction. We knew they were going to fight because they had to, even if we hadn't seen a trailer, we knew like they're going to have a showdown. My only other thing I want to say about it is that apparently you can breathe in space in this episode.
It's Legends.
It's Legends.
So other than that, that's all I have to say. I'm going to throw it over to Gavin and
Yeah.
see what you think.
There's not really much to say about this episode, in my opinion, because it all explained it really, really well. Like the lore within the episode, it felt like you were going back and watching episode 4, 5, and 6 and getting all the lore on your own. And so like DJ said, having the backstory of them being born, and you could see the twins in the little pod in that one little like red room. I can't remember what it exactly looked like.
It was just
but
a
that
split
was really,
second.
really cool.
Yeah.
And then they had that reference to at the very end whenever he split the Star Destroyer in
Yes.
to episode
I forgot
8.
about that.
The
It's
Holdo
that- It's the
maneuver.
Holdo maneuver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. That
Okay.
visual was very cool. Jacob, what were your thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, it was definitely like callback to the themes of episodes 4 through 6, but inverted to where they knew that they came from the dark side of the Force, and they believed that that was their purpose until Brother, this is something that I wondered about the whole episode, though, is what changed his mind,
Yeah, we need like a
I'd like to know
prequel
an
to
answer
this
to
one.
that.
Is
Yeah,
it
I'd like to know
just-
the answer to that.
It's
I'm
hard to
trying
think
to-
about for sure.
I'm trying to remember what happens
It's
when
just
he goes
it's
to
just
that.
the Force.
It's
you know?
just the Force.
He had a
The
vision.
Force
could-
works.
he had a
The Force
vision.
works in mysterious ways. Yeah, he did have a vision. That's true.
Yeah.
In visions.
Okay, that might be what happened.
A recurring
is
theme?
He was gonna turn that kyber crystal on, and that's when he got the vision. It could be something like that.
Maybe.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
have no idea. I'm down for anything at this point because
Right.
it's Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do whatever
Legends.
they want. I don't care.
It's Legends. Well, other quick takeaways from me. I thought the visuals whenever they were battling for that kyber crystal were beautiful.
Yeah.
Very
Big
fun.
takeaway that I put in for here is this episode is for the lightsaber fans, in my opinion. Tons
Yeah.
of lightsabers, a lot of
Yeah.
lightsaber clashing. That was really cool to see. I believe we got a do or do not reference. I can't remember the
Yes.
exact quote.
He did.
Yes. Yep.
What did he say?
He said something like he basically just said,
Oh, so it's D-Duo, the droid. He said, the droid was talking to him. He goes, "You're right, D-Duo. It's do or do not."
there you go."
There is
Yeah.
Jedi.
There you
My
go.
my personal headcanon is that the droid came from the Jedi Temple and he just held on to all the Jedi knowledge and
Sure.
he sat in on a Yoda session and said, "I'm going to remember that one."
Sure.
That's my headcanon.
Yeah, I like that. We already touched on Holdo maneuver. That was really cool. And then I just thought, just to bring this home, it's really convenient that they land on Tatooine, no doubt. Because you hear
Yeah.
the Jawa in the background. Pretty sure that you hear a Jawa as they're just kind of
Yeah.
chilling and sitting there. So that was really cool. Really cool. Any other final thoughts on the twins, Jacob?
The twin sons. It ends with those, right?
Yeah, it does. Beautiful.
Just like the classic.
The whole episode was actually about the sons. It had nothing to do with the sibling rivalry. It's just
Right.
all about the sons.
Just Tatooine.
It's just Tatooine.
The last 15 seconds of it.
That's all it's about.
I think it was really cool that one part when they started using force lightning when they were finally pulling the
Yeah.
not the lightsaber, the big old kyber crystal apart. And I think that also references to when Rey and Kylo are getting that split apart lightsaber part.
Ooh.
And
Yes.
so I
I
thought
got
that
those
was
vibes
really
too.
cool too.
Yeah. I think someone already alluded to this too, but I think this episode has a lot of myth and dark
Yeah.
side and light side and different Star Wars things, the Force things that we've kind of alluded to, but it really dives deep into them. And I think, again, this is one of those episodes that I feel like each time I rewatch it, I could probably get something new out of because it does so much as
think
far
so.
as Force abilities and dark science. Any
Yeah.
other final thoughts on this episode before we move forward? Doesn't sound
I'm
like
good.
it.
I loved it.
I'm good. Let's
Um,
move on. Yeah.
I love the animation. It's the animation in this one was very expressive. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Okay, episode 4. We're getting into episode 4 spoilers. We've got 2 more to go. Episode 4 is The Village Bride, brought to us by Kinema Citrus is the studio that brought us this beauty, unless Gavin can pronounce that correctly.
It may have to do with cinema, so I think it's
Sure.
Kinema.
Okay.
I like it.
So it's probably Kinema Citrus.
Kinema. That probably makes more sense.
I like it.
Okay. So for me, here's my personal opinion, and you can roast me if this is just me. It took me a minute to get into this episode. I felt like it took a while for it to build up, but Gavin's shaking his head. Gavin, what say you, though? What say you?
I man, when I saw this in the trailer, that helmet, that one, I can't remember the dude's name, the old guy in the episode, but when he had that helmet on, immediately made me think of Beowulf / like the Crusader kind of helmet.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, this guy's going to be a cool, interesting, just person to even think about. And then when the girl came in, it was really cool.
Okay.
Well, for me, this actually is my second favorite episode of the whole thing so far, from what
Mine
I've seen.
too.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Well, I
it's-
don't know.
Uh-oh.
Episode 5, maybe, for me.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Let me jump ahead. Okay, maybe it's a tie between this one and episode 5, but I kind of forgot what episode 5 is. But up to the point of where I was when I don't obviously start with 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4 out of the first 4, it's my number 2 spot. That's a lot of weird language just there, but you're with me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this because, and like you, Caleb, I agree with you. It took me a second to get into it.
Mhm.
But once I realized what was happening,
Mhm.
I thought, this is perfect. This is like the best. This is the best episode that they could have done something like this with. Not to mention my favorite. Y'all know me around here on Mando Talk. I'm a behind the scenes junkie. I love knowing stuff behind the scenes.
He does.
And he'll tell you, because I'll tell him stuff all the time. Be like, I didn't know that. Or he'll be like, shut up, I don't care. Which is more often that one, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But Matthew Wood is back as the voice of the battle droids.
Really?
He was the voice of that was him.
I immediately recognized
As soon
that
as
voice,
I was
too.
like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is Matthew Wood. And he
Okay.
has somehow made his way into this of all. And it's perfect. It's connective, but it's just this cool, really neat thing that we still have people at Lucasfilm who are like, I want to be a part of this. Or they're like,
Yeah.
hey, we need you because you're the battle droid voice, And so for me, it would have been lackluster had it not been Matthew Wood. It actually brought it up to a new level for me. Also, one
Yeah.
other thing, our Jedi is wearing high heels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was so wild.
So was the Sith assassin in the
Yes.
first
Mhm.
episode.
Yes.
They showed
Yep.
her heels first. I mean, they showed her in the face in like the big old
Yes.
car, but then they showed her heels.
Yeah, but anyway, that's what I have to say on this episode. Jacob, hit me, man. What do you got?
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear your analysis
Oh,
on
yeah?
this, because we
Oh,
were
yeah.
talking about something beforehand, and I want you to kind of go down that route.
Okay. Well,
I'm
I
excited.
think the number one thing that I like about this episode is the story and the themes that
Yes.
underlie it. And of all of the episodes that we have, 1 through 5, this one and number 5 might be the ones that have the most to do with the themes and the meanings and, the story of the Force. And,
Okay.
Finding purpose for a Jedi after, Order 66 and trying to live on in the galaxy of the Empire while maintaining a connection to the Force, or maybe struggling with how to do that. Because we see the
Right.
masked woman at the beginning of the episode, she covers who she is. She still has that Padawan's braid, but she covers who she is to hide from the Empire.
Right.
And we see kind of like a reluctance to get involved with the situation at hand, and step in and fight for right, which is, the code of the Jedi. And to tap into the Force to do that, to find a balance, mediate it, to be the mediator using the Force to put down evil when you need to and bring up good when you need to. And I love how this whole episode is like dealing with that, and how these people on this planet and the life of the planet itself brings that out of the masked woman to where she finally decides to act and step in at just the right time, at an awesome moment where we see Kylo Ren type of powers, which I love to see.
Well, that was something that I remember watching Force Awakens in the theater for the first time when Kylo does that, you know, that hand motion and it stops the bolt. You know, we'd never seen that in Star Wars up to that point.
Yeah.
And now seeing it here in Visions, it's funny. Watching it in episode 7, I was like, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
But I get it. I guess it's possible. And then seeing it in Visions, my first thought was, this is the perfect place for some weird power like this.
Yep.
But beyond that, I love that you mentioned that it's about finding purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to remember, you know, Dave Filoni, Clone Wars pretty much creator, he is very well known for saying that these are stories for kids.
Yeah.
Cautionary tales of sorts. And finding your purpose is a great thing to communicate to anybody, really.
Oh yeah.
And you know, and if you're out there trying to figure out what your purpose is, absolutely. I think this is one of those things that, like you said, in today's day and age, this is one of those stories that could mean something to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoy that because as somebody who struggled for a long time to find their purpose, to see a story like this where somebody does find their purpose, I think that's why it has such a high spot on my list.
Yeah, me too. That and how the animation, again, is really good in this one.
It is.
The animation in that one alluded to a lot of like My Hero Academia.
Yeah, I can see
sort
that.
of animation.
I can see that. Absolutely.
Had the really like plastic kind of colorful.
Yeah.
And the eyes, especially in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Were very like
it felt
very, like,
traditional anime. Like from what I know, it looked like every anime I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm. But I love that, and you know, seeing that in Star Wars, I love seeing that. I want to talk more about the story just because it's so good. Calling back to what you were saying, DJ, how the masked woman, again, she doesn't reveal her name. We don't get her name, so that's interesting. But and how about that lightsaber? I love that lightsaber.
That was cool. That was very cool.
Yeah.
And I put that as one of my
pulse.
takeaways. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
I think if I was listening closely, it may have not been this episode, but another one where that lightsaber clicks on and it sounds like Rey Skywalker's lightsaber.
It turns on the same way.
Did it?
So it has like that little like dial at the top where you like flick it this way.
Okay.
So yeah, I can definitely say that was the same way you turn it on, and it kind of, to me, it's just sound a little bit like it.
Cool.
But I agree.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, your analysis on this episode, like I said, that's why I kind of wanted to take a step back because I had a feeling that you were gonna kill it. Any other thing that you would like to add to it?
Yeah. Okay. So, the way that the groom carries up the bride to that sacred space, I think that's very interesting. I don't really know what to make of that. I just think that's really interesting and might be like really beautiful and profound.
I'm not sure whether or not that had anything to do with like Japanese culture or anything, because it could. I mean, for all we know, it could have something to do with the culture within the race they are in Star Wars, or just or Japanese culture. But I think it's like you talked about. I think it's cool how they somehow had like the political aspect of the story within the 20-minute episode of like episodes 1, 2, and 3. They had the political aspect through this episode along with internal affairs within their tribe. It was just all so cool.
You know, as I'm married and I would do anything for my wife.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. That's why it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I don't know if that might have been more for the married folks watching, because you sit there and you watch that and you think, man, like, am I willing to do that as a husband? Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I don't know if I physically can do that, you know, and I love my wife, and I'm not saying my wife's not petite. She's a fantastic woman. I'm just saying, I don't know if I physically, my back can take that.
No, I mean,
I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, I was watching this episode and thinking, in real life, I would be suffering.
Yes,
definitely. And that wasn't an easy hike either.
Yeah,
to say the least.
No. But the masked
and then everything
woman,
moved.
Right. But the masked
And there's
woman's. Yeah,
Go
what
ahead.
were you gonna say, Gavin?
Oh, well, they got that one part where they both touched their hands onto that memory. It was like a memory stone.
Yeah, yeah.
That reminded me of
memories of
Avatar:
the
The Last
planet.
Airbender.
Mhm.
Whenever they were talking, like with the lion turtle, whenever
Yeah.
Aang meets the lion turtle, he's able to access further, like, in memories from inside, like, the Avatar's memory bank.
Yeah.
And so when I think about that, it's like the planet's history is
Yeah.
all inside of that, just like it is with Avatar Aang, along with like Avatar Kyoshi, Avatar Roku, all of them. It's just so cool to see all of
Yeah. I love that connection, Gavin.
I am
That's really
so
good.
impressed right now.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just sitting
well-
back listening to all this, and I'm
Yeah,
just like,
it's-
cool, yeah, absolutely.
to me, it actually. I'm glad you mentioned the thing about the stone because it reminds me of Grogu and the Mandalorian
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, just tie it back,
Uh-huh.
tie it back to what we do, what I know at least.
Yeah,
You know,
touche.
But that's what it reminds me of. All of this, though, fantastic. But we got one more episode to talk about.
Yeah, we do, and I think everyone is probably really excited to talk about this final episode.
I am.
And that final episode is the Ninth Jedi, and it was brought to us by Production IG. And there was a lot of cool things in this episode. Visually, I loved it. The characters that we saw, loved it. The moment that if you're watching live with us or just watching back on YouTube, and again, spoiler heavy here, spoilers with episode 5, when we see these red sabers surrounding our heroes in this episode,
Handshakes, man, handshakes.
my jaw dropped, if I'm being
Yeah.
completely honest, in this
Yeah.
moment. Because, so just to backtrack a little bit, this idea of changing lightsaber colors is incredible to me, and I
Yes.
love this. And yet, before we went live, we were talking about off air. We were saying, obviously, this tech destroys canon. This is why we will never see
Yeah.
this happen in canon. Because again, we talked about it off air, but
Boy, do I wish it was canon.
if the Jedi Temple had just implemented these lightsabers, they very easily could have known if there were Siths rising in their ranks. So
Well, maybe they just didn't know that you could do that.
maybe.
Maybe
I don't like that.
It's
maybe
Legends.
maybe
It's
the
Legends.
Bladesmith
Nah.
figured it out.
Nah, it's Legends. Nah. No, but what do you guys think? And let's start with DJ this time, or Gavin.
Okay.
Who knows?
I'll go-
Is-
I'll
you
go.
talk first. I talk first.
You
I
talk
don't
first,
know.
you talk-
Who
you
knows?
talk first.
But what do you guys think about this episode, The Ninth Jedi?
This was the episode I had the hardest time understanding what was going on.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that I'm glad when I was done with it, I kind of was like, I see now the story elements unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never try. I'm not a plot guesser. I don't like to guess the plot. I want to know.
I do.
I know you do, but like, I wanted to see how it was going to unfold. So I'm like sitting there like, man, I had to have been looking like a dummy, you know, just sitting there like, what's
Yeah.
happening? Like, I don't know what was going on.
Monkey.
So, but by the
Yeah.
time everything came about, I was like, okay, you know, I'm seeing what's going on and I'm
Uh-huh.
liking it. I'm a big fan of it. I like how we figured out who the ninth or why, how, not how, but like there are 9 Jedi. And so the whole time I was like, well, who is the 9th Jedi? And
I
was-
counted basically the entire time.
yeah, I was
like,
trying to
all right,
figure
how
it all
many are
out.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go ahead though, because that's all I really have to say about it.
So you brought up the part about how the lightsaber blade changes, and
Mhm.
so that makes me think about how like the temperer or like the forger for the lightsaber hilts and the kyber crystals, man, when that dude smacked that kyber crystal with that hammer under that heat, I was like, you're gonna break it. What are you doing? What's your problem? But he was tempering it, and that just makes me think more of the like Japanese anime aspect where you're tempering your sword, you're making your blade stronger.
Yeah.
That's a good
It's
point.
and it's just really cool to see that too.
Yeah.
But-
I didn't
yeah.
even think about that either, man. This is
We're
you learn
both
something-
pretty big.
You learn something.
We're
every
both
day.
pretty big Forged in Fire fans over
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
We're big
Yeah.
fans of like knife making and things like that. So
Yeah,
we've seen a
that's
lot of these
awesome.
episodes where these guys will get in there and start hammering it out. So like I didn't even pick up on that. So him saying that, I'm like, oh, I totally get it because I have this previous knowledge from Forged in Fire and watching those bladesmiths do that on there, and it makes sense to kind of put that in this context.
Sure, absolutely.
I would love to do that one day. Make a sword.
Call me, I'll come help you. I want to learn. I don't know how.
Just two random guys. Just
He's out here beating on metal, trying to hope that we make a sword.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob, what did you think of the episode?
Oh man, this is another one that I could go on and on about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, like I love the story about this one, and I love how it's you know trying to bring back the Jedi, but you don't know the entire time who's actually good or who's Sith. What's going on? Why are they all there? Are they gonna get ambushed? And the whole time, I thought that all 7 of them up in the Ariel Temple were Jedi.
Yep.
The whole time,
Me
I
too.
thought that.
Yep.
So it really, when they got those lightsabers and they turned red, I was like,
Yep.
what?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah, exactly. But when Kara, when she picked up a lightsaber, and her father was saying like, maybe one day you'll be able to use this and train and know how to use it, and it will change a color for you. We were like, yeah, she's definitely the 9th.
Definitely. You could tell very early that she was going to be the 9th Jedi
Well,
in the episode.
Okay. I think that was obvious, but I kind of had a moment. I'm not sure if Caleb and I were thinking the same thing. Am I the only one here that thinks that her dad isn't even her dad, but he's like a Jedi who ran away from the temple or something and just took a youngling with him?
I wasn't thinking that.
Has
I wasn't
anybody else
thinking that
thought
either.
that?
Hmm.
Okay, because like I thought I
That's
had
a
a
cool
moment
thought.
with Caleb where I was like, I think we're thinking the same thing, but no, no, I've thought that this whole time and thought no, like, and I actually for a while was like, that guy's the 9th Jedi. So
Yeah.
are there 10 Jedi? I don't really know the whole thing. So anyway, that was where I was kind of thinking.
So going back to what you were talking about, the Temperer, those guys that are making and forging, they're called Temperers because he was tempering the kyber crystal.
Mm-hmm.
When he turned the lightsaber on after he finished it and showed Kara, it was blue.
Yep.
So he had the Force. He knew how to at least use it. And so whenever Kara turned hers on, it was transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the episode,
Mhm.
if you keep watching, after she comes to the temple and starts fighting all the different Sith,
Yep.
it turns green.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
And
green.
I freaked out when that happened.
I noticed it. I was like, is it green the
Yeah.
entire time? And then it wasn't. So
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
it
it's
was just so cool.
It's incredible in just a 20-minute short that just that little nugget thrown in there is incredible character development.
Yeah.
And we see
Yeah.
it unfold. And then when it switches colors, it's like seamless. Like there for a
Yeah.
second, you're like, when did that happen? Did that just
Yeah,
happen?
yes,
Or
yes.
has that been there for a while? So that was really cool. And I'm glad you pointed that out because that is definitely something that I took away big time
Yeah.
from the episode.
You notice his lightsaber. You notice the big guy, the big furry guy.
Mm-hmm.
You notice
tall
his
one?
change.
Yes.
Yeah, you notice his change after his lightsaber, after he clashes with Kara's. It starts turning purple, and he's like,
Yes.
"Who are you?"
Which I made not a motion. What is this? A business meeting? I mentioned before. It is a business meeting. No, I mentioned
yeah.
before we went live tonight that is a nice reference to some previous Legends material.
Yeah,
about you can
absolutely.
go so close to the dark side, but that means that your lightsaber is purple,
Mhm.
a la Mace Windu.
Mm-hmm.
And from Jedi Padawan Temple, the YouTube series that Ahmed Best did as a Jedi, his lightsaber was also purple.
Yeah.
Just as a
Yeah.
throw that in there really
the
quick.
line between light and dark is so very thin.
Yes.
To
Yeah.
quote Destiny 2.
There you
That's
go.
from Destiny.
Mhm.
How's that not in Star Wars?
You'd have to play the game to understand.
All right, fair enough.
All right. I will
Someone
say
who's-
my last thing here. I think this episode deserves a sequel. I want to know more. I want to know
Oh,
about
yeah.
this
Yes.
group
Yes.
of.
All of the
of-
episodes deserve a sequel.
That's true. We need a season 2. We already
Season
need
two.
a season
Season 2 visions, absolutely.
But I specifically want to see these characters continue their journey of starting the Jedi Order or
Mhm.
renewing the Jedi Order. I just wanted to throw that out there before we continue to discuss a little bit more.
And the
Yeah.
last part about that, like the very end of the episode, like the beam shoots out of the rock in the sky. And
Right?
so, but then you're looking at it upside down. You're like, okay, this is kind of weird. Is it like the portal from like the Thor Ragnarok movie, or like something, but then it turns upside down, and it
Yeah,
looks like a lightsaber.
And you hear the lightsaber sound.
Yeah,
yes,
it's like
it
a
was
giant
so
lightsaber.
cool.
Yeah.
It was a perfect marriage into that, and it reminded me a lot of that OG Return of the Jedi poster with the holding the lightsaber up. It really reminded me of that, and I guess that one A New Hope poster as well. Because that right there, he did it.
Yeah.
Like
I'll be
Tron.
Leia and just lay. But anyway, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah,
It was good
absolutely.
stuff. It was good stuff.
It was.
I
one
love
more
that
thing I want
episode.
to say, Gavin. I don't know if this did it for you, but the Jedi hunters, I thought that they kind of reminded me of the Akatsuki. What did you think when you saw them?
What? I can't remember what that's from.
That's from
You have to remind
Naruto.
me. Okay. So I've only seen like a little bit of Naruto. I just
Really?
started like watching it.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
And so, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen enough of people talking about it and everything. I agree. I do
Yeah.
agree. It does remind me of that a little bit.
That's
Can you
definitely
enlighten
what that
us?
reminded
Because
me
I have
of.
no idea what that is.
Yeah, I'm clueless.
The Akatsuki.
Yeah, what is that?
Okay, so they're the bad guys in much of Naruto. Naruto
Okay.
Shippuden.
There you go.
Yeah.
The bad
Are
guys.
they the guys whose faces always look gray?
No, not all of
No,
them.
I thought those were. I
They're
thought those were
wearing,
the
like,
bad guys.
black cloaks with red clouds on them.
Yeah.
Okay,
And like
yeah.
at the start of the series, they're wearing like those big, wide hats that they wear over in Asia, and it kind of like conceals their
Okay.
identity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
I know
why
what
it
you're talking about
reminded me
now.
of them. Yeah, because
Okay.
they were
Okay,
wearing
cool.
those hats
I had no
when
idea.
they first
That makes
got,
me think
got out of the
of
ship.
what are they called? What's that large like that elite group of demon slayers in Demon Slayer? What are they called? Do you remember? Starts with an H.
No, I don't remember.
Hellraisers.
I can look it up really quick.
I don't remember.
Let me check very quickly.
You're going real quick there, bud.
Hey, shut up.
He said, "Shut up."
Wait, okay.
Well, while you're trying to figure that out, final thoughts as far as Visions goes as a whole for
Sure.
what we've seen 1 through 5, just absolutely incredible. Did you figure it out?
They're called the Hashira.
Okay.
They reminded me of the
Yeah.
Hashira because like all of them were coming together and trying to be like the grand scheme of like Jedi to come finally can restart
Yeah.
like the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
But then they were all red. So it was like the opposite of the Hashira. It was more
Is
of,
there
like, the
anime
bad
for
side.
dummies?
Yeah, because
Yes.
I need it.
I think I needed
There
it.
I need
is
to
Attack on
probably
enroll.
Titan.
I need to enroll
Okay.
in said
Probably
course for sure.
Yes. Well, Professor Jacob
Well,
and
you
Professor
already
Gavin
have.
can walk us through there.
Y'all already
So,
have.
We're here.
It's
We've got our
called
first
Star Wars Visions.
Yes.
There
Okay.
you go.
It's not just Star
Well,
Wars.
Like I was saying before we went that, and I'm so glad we went into that. I gave him a hard time, but I mean, we're brothers. We have to.
Right.
I just want to say, my final thoughts for Visions, I'd like everybody, if we could all just say our final thoughts about what we've seen thus far in episodes 1 through 5. For me, this is one of those things. I think we've all said this tonight. We all want a season 2, just based on about half of it. I've only watched 5 episodes. I've still got 4 more to watch, and I
Yeah.
want 9 more. I want 20 more. Honestly, I think that a second season would be fantastic. So for me, this is revealing something to me I didn't know I wanted to see in Star Wars, and I love it so much. I'll say it over to Gavin. What do you have to say about it so far as a whole?
So far, I mean, I've also watched episode 6, so I know a little bit more. But looking through it all, I think with how like the kids aspect of it is going to go pretty far. I feel like there's going to be maybe some action figures, maybe some toys.
That'll be fun.
I'm really hoping for Legos. If there's Legos, I am immediately buying that stuff. But like Jacob has talked about the entire time, the storyline for almost all of these episodes has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect I like going into this, anime Star Wars has been something I've been wanting since I was like 14. But that's because I've seen so many things on YouTube, people like making it and just trying to get it out there.
Yeah. And I
It's
mean,
just-
the original Clone Wars was almost, almost that.
Oh yeah. It's just I'm so glad we have it now.
Yeah.
it's so great to have.
Yeah.
Jacob,
me
what do you
too.
got to say so far about what we've
Um,
seen?
I just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love anime and I love seeing Star Wars in anime.
Amen.
I love the stories, all of them. And I know that I'm going to love the next 4. I love the way that Star Wars is finally being expressed in this art form where each episode can be its own unique work of art.
Yes.
I love that, and I know that lots of people are going to appreciate that, and I love that fact too, that people are going to appreciate anime and look into it that much more because of this, because there's so much good anime out there, and it's not just for, weird people
Nerds.
in high school that do Naruto runs through the hallways. Which,
Those are
who
some
cares?
weirdos, man.
I'll
You
do
are
that
one
all
of those
day.
weirdos.
I do not do that.
Oh man.
All right, well, my final thoughts here, and it's something, and I fall in that category. I'm somebody that has never really given anime its due diligence, if I'm being completely honest, just because there's so much other content out there that I take in, but I do fall in that category where I think Visions is going to maybe push me in that direction to finally give this genre a closer look, and I think
Please
that
do.
is phenomenal in itself, and it's phenomenal to see Lucasfilm having the cojones, if you will, to do this, because let's be honest, I'm sure that it was a struggle
it was
at
a
first
risk.
to
It was a
do
risk.
this, and it's something that a
Yeah.
lot of people out there have always wanted to do and wanted to see, and we're getting it, and it's executing. At least so far, I've seen 1 through 5. I haven't seen any of the others, but I have no doubt that episodes 6 through 9 will be just as good and just as interesting. And
Yes.
Mando Talk will be here next week to talk about episodes 6 through 9, and I can't wait to talk about
Let's go.
those episodes, because I had a lot of fun tonight, as me and DJ more so just the Star Wars down that lane, but then Gavin and Jacob coming in clutch with the anime
Absolutely.
analysis and all of these terms and characters and stories that I have no clue what they are, but I'm sure somebody out there listening knows exactly what they're talking about.
Yep.
And I'm glad that the listener was able to get that, the Star Wars lane, the anime lane, all mixed into one, and that's what Visions is successfully doing. So I can't wait to continue to see this show moving forward, and possibly in a season 2. Gavin, what you got?
I'm gonna sell out for us real quick. If you are on the YouTube, please subscribe.
There you go.
Please like.
I didn't even tell him to say that.
You
He did that on his
subscribe
own.
and like.
Subscribe and like and share.
Subscribe and like and share. And
There you go.
hey, click that bell too.
Tell your
That
friends.
way you get notified as soon as we go live, and then that way you can hang out with us. And it is just a big hangout sesh. Like if you type in
Yeah.
the chat, your voice is going to be on our episode,
Oh, yeah.
and we
100%.
love to continue to do this. So those are our final thoughts on Star Wars Visions episodes 1 through 5. Again, we appreciate everybody being here, and let's pass this back to Gavin first. We appreciate you being here this week. Any final thoughts that you want to say?
I'm just glad y'all wanted me to have me here.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to meet Jacob. It's good to see your face.
Yeah,
Good to meet you too, man.
absolutely. And Jacob, what do you have? Any final thoughts you want to tell the listeners?
I just had a lot of fun talking to y'all about this tonight, and to all you listeners, watch this show, watch this series, because it's awesome and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good
Fair
stories.
Fair enough.
All right, DJ, I appreciate you being here yet another week, and I can't wait to do
Absolutely.
it again, man. Any final thoughts from you?
Just that this reminds me so much of the first time I got to be on Mando Talk with
Yeah.
you guys. And we said a lot that night, which was Star Wars is about family.
Mm-hmm.
And to share this with our families tonight was really cool. So instead of what I normally do, my send off, I usually say, tell your mama you love her. Tonight, tell your brother you love him.
Hey.
Go tell your brother you
mom.
love him. And tell your
Love
mom
you,
you love her
bro.
too.
Love you,
Love you,
brother.
brother.
and here's my
And he
dog
says, okay.
popped up on the stream.
And to my brother that's not here with us tonight, Brock, love you too, man. You better say it too.
I love you.
All right.
Oh, I
That's
love
all
it.
I've got to say.
All right. Well, listen, until next time, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Mando Talk. Chat with us in Discord. Click that link that's in the description. And until we see you on the next episode, as always, we have spoken.